Hello everyone, Namaste. My name is Beecher and welcome to my channel. So I have decided to start a brand new series in this channel that is going to be a book review series. Before starting with the very first episode, I would like to share with you all why I decided to start such a series. So as a reader, I always had a confusion that which book should I read and whether a certain book is apt for me or not, and whether what it really contains. So and not only me, there are many readers who have that confusion, who have this confusion. There have been certain instances when I bought a book because I heard that from some of my friends, but it was, I would say, I found it very boring. That was not suitable for me. It is subjective. This thing is subjective, that for someone it may be interesting, but for me it wasn't. So, you know, so it was very saddening, frustrating because I had to spend my pocket money on buying the book. So, for all those kind of readers who have confusion like this, I have decided to start this review series. uh, and there are some books, before reading them you must be having some brief knowledge about certain thing. Like, for example, there is a very beautiful book, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. It is a very wonderful book. Everyone, I would say, not everyone, a majority would like it. But before reading that, one must have a basic knowledge about the concentration camp in which the Nazis killed millions of Jews. So there are some readers who will read it, they will find it interesting, but they will not understand some things, some part in the book, because if because they do not have knowledge about the concentration camp. Because we cannot blame them, because no, one doesn't know what kind of knowledge one should have before reading a book. So for those kind of people also, I have decided to start this book. So without further much ado, let me start with the very first episode, because long videos are boring, this kind of videos. So, for the very first episode, I have my favorite book, and it is Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe. Forgive me if I made some pronunciation mistakes while pronouncing the name of the author. So, this book is a very wonderful book. It is about the slavery system that existed in America and also other parts of the world. So, the main protagonist of this novel is Uncle Tom, who himself is a slave. So, the author, through the protagonist, wants to, show us how the life of a slave was in the old days. Thankfully, slave system has been abolished in these present times, but many years ago, the slavery system existed. People from Africa, they were brought to the West and they were sold as slave, and they were considered as a property. Racial discrimination was there. So it revolves around the life of a slave. And in this story, in this novel, the author has showed, how a life of a slave is when he is with a very kind, good master, and how it suddenly changes, how the life suddenly changes, takes a turn when the slave is sold to a new master who is evil, who is very cruel. And the author has done a very great job in showing showing us how the life of a slave was. And there are some instances where uh, the story becomes very emotional. There was a particular part which made my eyes shed tears. It was very emotional. I could feel, the pain of a slave, the desire of a slave to be free, how a slave has to part away from his family because of such a cruel system, how he has to suffer miserable pains, how he is punished by his master. So all these things have been shown in this book, and the book is not very difficult to understand. Before reading the book, one must, if it would be very good if one has basic information, basic knowledge about the slavery system, because if one has that basic information, then the story will become will become better, will be more understandable, and one can feel the pain. I'm not going to tell you what I'm not going to summarize the story of the novel, because if I summarize, then you won't find it interesting, you won't love reading it. So I will not be summarizing, I will just be telling what it really contains. And it is a very good book, you must read. And at the back of the book is written, the object of horror means the authors, the object of our book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, is to awaken sympathy and feeling for the oppressed Negroes. It reflects vividly their wrongs and sorrows, their hopes and despairs under a cruel, unjust system. The characters and the incidents are clearly visualized and realistically presented in simple, lucid, and emotionally powerful style. And I do agree with this very words, because it has this words has been justified by the story, has been justified by the author. So I would like to suggest, if you get time, please do read this book. It is a very wonderful book. You will feel the pain of a slave, you will know about the difficult life, difficult times that a slave had to endure because of an unjust slavery system, racial discrimination. So this is all for today. This is all for the very first episode. So please do like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.